Mortgage arrears have been increasing for a number of months now, and that's not surprising given the rapid rise in interest rates that we have seen. But if you look at them at aggregate levels, despite the increases, they are still around long-term averages and at relatively low levels, but the trend is certainly on the up.
What is it about the specific geographic areas you've identified that make it more likely for borrowers to be behind on their payments?
Sure. If you drill down below the aggregate levels for mortgage arrears, you start to see quite a distinct trend, particularly in the capital cities, the further away you move from central business districts and inner city areas. So if you look at mortgage arrears on the outskirts of capital city areas, they tend to be higher and have experienced larger year-on-year increases compared to inner city areas where mortgage arrears are lower. And that's not surprising when you look at the types of borrowers that are likely to be more common in those areas, particularly because housing is more affordable. You see more first homeowners in those areas who would typically have higher debt levels, so debt serviceability pressure is going to be more pronounced.
Would you expect arrears to continue to rise given the delay between rate rises and the banks passing them on?
Sure. I think that arrears certainly haven't peaked yet. I think that further arrears increases are ahead of us, particularly because the cash rate, we don't think it has peaked yet. In terms of when we think arrears are probably more likely to peak, I think we're more likely to see that towards the end of the first half of next year.
How bad could it get? How many people do you expect will be behind on their payments by then?
I think despite the fact that arrears are increasing, because unemployment is still quite low and is forecast to remain relatively low, that is certainly going to help keep mortgage defaults at not particularly high levels, and certainly at not levels where we're concerned about high levels of distressed selling. When it comes to arrears, the unemployment situation is key, as loss of income is a key cause of mortgage default.
What are you seeing in regional Australia?
Regional Australia arrears are up across the board, whether it's regional or metropolitan arrears. Regional arrears are increasing, but once again, the rate of that increase really depends on where you are. Typically, regional arrears, where we've seen arrears a lot higher in the past, has been in areas where mining activity used to be more pronounced. But more recently, I think arrears increases are very much more across the board. They're not just a regional thing, they're a regional and city.
The big banks haven't appeared too concerned about arrears and defaults so far, but is that likely to change as hundreds of thousands of borrowers come off low fixed-term loans and move on to higher variable loans?
Look, when it comes to mortgage arrears, the employment situation is key. So I think with unemployment levels still quite low and certainly below pre-pandemic levels, I think that provides a level of comfort that whilst mortgage arrears might tick up a little bit more, the overall level of mortgage defaults are not expected to be high, provided employment and unemployment in particular remains relatively low.
Erin Kitson, thank you.
Thank you.